Now we finally have an update on the drowning death of Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Now, according to ABC7, they stated that Malcolm-Jamal Warner had drowned while he was on vacation in Costa Rica. Now, the article goes on to say that Warner had drowned off the coast of Costa Rica on Sunday. So this actually occurred on Sunday. They stated that the Costa Rican National Police had told this to ABC News.
Jaguar Wright just dropped a bomb. She's stepping into the conversation about the chilling and suspicious death of Malcolm-Jamal Warner and what she's claiming. It's way deeper than what the headline's been feeding us. According to her, Malcolm wasn't just going through it before he died. He was running from something or someone, and not just running emotionally. Jaguar says he was literally on the move, like a man being hunted. Now, after all the online chatter and sketchy silence, U.S. authorities have finally snapped out of it. Reports say a full-blown investigation has been launched into what really happened during Malcolm's final days. And guess what? Some of the details creeping out are starting to match what Jaguar's been screaming for weeks.
Everybody wants to know, why'd you walk away from $50 million?
Well, I wasn't walking away from the money.
Yeah.
I was walking away from the circumstances that were coming with the newfound plateau.
Yeah.
It takes a while when you punch through to adjust to the atmosphere.
Why was Malcolm so paranoid? Who or what had him looking over his shoulder like that? Because if Jaguar is not just talking out the side of her mouth, then this ain't just another tragic celebrity passing. This was a setup, a calculated one, a message. And the saddest part, we all missed the signs until it was too late. Jaguar saying loud and clear that Malcolm didn't just vanish to Costa Rica to find peace like the media keeps pushing. Nah, she says that whole trip was a cover story, a distraction, because something or somebody was after him and Costa Rica wasn't a vacation.
I've been in show business since I was 14, and I've heard the stories of what happens, and I've seen these kinds of things play out in front of me.
Okay. When you say you heard the stories, what do you mean? What stories?
I mean, you see before, look, Mariah Carey made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy. Or Martin Lawrence punches through and he's waving a gun on the street screaming, "They're trying to kill me."
Yeah. Yeah, we hear those stories.
And it always happens around the time in their career where it seems as though they're crossing over the next plateau.
Yeah.
Jaguar Wright ain't holding back. She straight up says Malcolm-Jamal Warner wasn't out in Costa Rica for no vacation. He was on the run. According to her, Malcolm knew somebody was closing in and he was genuinely terrified. Like not just paranoid, but real life scared for his safety. He felt something bad was coming and fast. And then comes this eerie video that's got folks talking. Just hours before he passed, Malcolm was caught on camera walking alone on a pitch-black beach. No lights, no crew, just him and the dark. At first, it looked like any other late-night stroll, but look closer. His whole vibe was off. He didn't look peaceful. He looked shaken, eyes darting, shoulders tight like he was carrying some serious weight on his soul. People watching it now are saying, he looked like he knew his time was up. So now we gotta ask, who was he running from and why is this barely making headlines? It's almost like someone's trying to keep it quiet. But here's the thing, Jaguar's track record, she's dropped truth bombs before and they hit. So what if she's right again?
Sounds like somebody's trying to put young Dave in a compromising position. Oprah.
This ain't sounding like some freak accident anymore. It's starting to feel like Malcolm was trying to warn us. Jaguar Wright ain't pulling punches. She says the real reason Malcolm looked so rattled in that beach video, he had just been threatened again. And not by some random nobodies, nah. Jaguar says it was by extremely powerful folks. People Malcolm was allegedly planning to expose. That beach walk, it wasn't some peaceful moment under the stars. It was right after he got hit with a chilling message. Stay quiet, or else. That's why his energy felt so off in that video. Jaguar says he was shook, like he was battling something heavy in his head, trying to figure out if speaking the truth was even worth the risk anymore. Now here's where it gets even wilder. When that video first hit the internet, folks immediately noticed something was wrong. People were asking, is he high? Is he on something? The way he moved, the way he stared out into the dark, it just didn't feel like him. Some even tried to chalk it up to drugs or some kind of substance to explain why he looked so out of it. But then the autopsy results dropped and boom, all that speculation got shut down. Malcolm's system came back clean, no drugs, no alcohol, nothing. So now that excuse is off the table completely. And it forces everybody to take a second look at that beach footage. Because if he wasn't intoxicated, what had him that shook? What did he see or hear that left him pacing in the dark like that?
Black community is not a monolith. There's so many levels and lanes to the black community, and we wanted to have a space where we could acknowledge, discuss all of those lanes, because they're so varied in terms of our perspectives and our opinions and our ways of life, and we wanted to be able to have a place where we can talk about all of those things, discuss all of those things, and shed light on the not all hood aspects of who we are.
Jaguar Wright's claims are starting to hit real different now, because if Malcolm was actually being hunted by powerful people, and if he knew his life was on the line, then that beach video wasn't just some emotional moment. It might have been the exact second he realized he wasn't getting out of this alive. And once you hear what Jaguar says next, everything flips. According to her, that whole story about Malcolm drowning doesn't add up. She's claiming that's not what really happened. Yeah, his body was found in the water, but Jaguar says Malcolm was already gone before he even touched the ocean, and that changes everything. Because if he was already dead before the tide carried him out, it explains why he didn't even try to swim or fight back. People are asking, how does a man who knows how to handle a riptide, a skilled swimmer, just suddenly give up in the water? This wasn't no rookie tourist flailing in the waves. This was Malcolm-Jamal Warner, a grown man in control who had experience. So if he didn't fight it, maybe it's because he physically couldn't, or maybe he never even had the chance. Now fans are looking sideways at the official story. Who was chasing Malcolm? What kind of heat was he really under? And the biggest question of them all, how did they manage to clean it up so smooth that it looked like just another tragic accident? Jaguar Wright says Malcolm-Jamal Warner became a target the moment he stopped playing Hollywood's little game. According to her, he refused to shrink himself just to make the industry feel comfortable. And that's when things got dangerous. She says Malcolm wasn't interested in being that quiet, non-threatening version of a black man the system loves to parade around. Nah, he was loud, proud, and unfiltered. He wasn't biting his tongue for nobody, and allegedly, Malcolm was gearing up to expose some serious mess, the kind of truth that rattles cages and makes powerful people panic. Now, if you've been paying attention over the years, this ain't new. There's been non-stop talk about how Hollywood treats outspoken black men, silencing them, trying to feminize them, or straight up break them. And when they stop cooperating, or worse, start talking, that's when things start spiraling real quick. Jaguar says Malcolm saw the writing on the wall, but instead of backing down, he pushed harder. He wanted to tell the truth, even if it came with a price. Sound familiar? Just look back at 2005. Remember when Dave Chappelle walked away from that $50 million Comedy Central deal and dipped to Africa? The media lost its mind. When Dave Chappelle disappeared in 2005, the tabloids went wild, calling him unstable, saying he was spiraling, even pushing rumors he was on drugs or having some kind of mental breakdown. They were trying to paint the man like he lost it. But when Dave finally sat down with Oprah, he shut all that noise down. He said it wasn't about the money. It was about the strings attached, the pressure, the control, the way the industry tried to box him in and twist him into something he wasn't. Dave wasn't willing to play that role. He wasn't about to sell his soul just to be their version of marketable. One of the realest things Dave said, he started noticing a dark pattern. He said entertainers go through something ugly, right before they hit that next level of fame, and it didn't sit right with him at all. He saw how the same machine that builds you up in public will rip you to shreds the moment you stop following the script. So he made a choice. Instead of letting them turn him into a puppet, Dave walked, left the deal, left the country, and chose his sanity over their spotlight. When Oprah asked Dave Chappelle what really made him walk away from that massive deal, he didn't sugarcoat nothing. He said point blank, he was being pushed to create sketches that felt wrong, not just off-color or edgy, but socially irresponsible, jokes that didn't land right, jokes that felt like they were laughing at him, not with him. But it went even deeper than that. Dave said he could feel the agenda. It wasn't about comedy anymore. It was about mockery. It was about turning black men into punchlines. And once he saw it for what it was, he couldn't unsee it. That's when it hit him. He was being used to clown his own people and cashing in on it. That right there was his breaking point. Now fast forward to Malcolm-Jamal Warner, and the parallels are straight up chilling. If Jaguar Wright's telling the truth, Malcolm saw that same twisted machine coming for him. But while Dave got the chance to walk away, Malcolm didn't get that luxury. Dave nearly lost everything for standing up. His career flatlined for a minute. Hollywood tried to bury him, but he survived, came back stronger, and forced them to respect his name. Malcolm, though, according to Jaguar, he wasn't that lucky because the things he was about to expose weren't just uncomfortable, they were dangerous. Look at the whole Drake verses. Kendrick beef. While the entire hip-hop world was busy picking sides, fueling the fire, Malcolm-Jamal Warner stepped back and saw through it all. He called it what it really was. He wasn't getting caught up in the noise. Instead, he pointed straight at the powerful hands behind the curtain, those unseen forces trying to pit two of the biggest black voices against each other. And according to Jaguar Wright, those same forces didn't like being called out, not one bit. Malcolm wasn't just speaking his truth, he was pulling the mask off something that was never meant to be exposed. And that, she says, is when things got serious. That's when he became a problem. But the most chilling part? Malcolm's final podcast interviews. Jaguar says they made the situation even more suspicious because he did not hold back. No filters, no fear. He flat out called out the power players behind the scenes, the ones treating black men like pawns, like puppets being dangled for profit. In one clip, Malcolm broke it all the way down. He talked about how the media dehumanizes black men, how they get boxed in, labeled, silenced, and pushed to the edge just for existing in a world that refuses to see them as full human beings. What really shook people was when Malcolm basically hinted that he was ready to expose everything. No metaphors, no coded language. He was talking direct, with urgency, like a man who knew his time was almost up. Looking back now, a lot of folks are asking, was that his warning? Did Malcolm realize he had crossed a line and there was no turning back? Because according to Jaguar Wright and now more and more fans, this wasn't random. It wasn't just a tragic accident, it was something else, something way darker. And when you really start connecting the dots, it's hard not to notice how much of this story just doesn't sit right. Did the timeline shaky? The official details keep flipping, and for something that was supposed to be a straightforward drowning, it completely crumbles under the slightest pressure. Let's break it down. First, officials claimed Malcolm got caught in a riptide while trying to save his daughter. The Judicial Investigation Agency released a statement saying Malcolm had been playing with her at the shoreline. Then, supposedly, he brought her out of the water, went back in with a friend, and that's when the current pulled them. The friend escaped. Malcolm didn't. But fans weren't buying it. That story threw up red flags immediately. Now here's where things get real sketchy. The chief of the tourist police in the Atlantic region came out with a whole different version of events. He claimed Malcolm's family, including his daughter, weren't even at the beach when the drowning happened. According to him, they interviewed the family and confirmed they weren't there at the time of the accident. Wait, what? So now we've got two clashing reports from official sources and zero clarity on what actually went down. One version says the daughter was right there, and Malcolm went in trying to save her. The other says the family wasn't anywhere near the water. Which one is it? And get this, when the Daily Mail reached out for clarification, the Judicial Investigation Agency didn't flinch. They didn't backtrack at all. In fact, they doubled down, reissuing their original statement that Malcolm's daughter was on the shoreline. They even added a new layer, saying a surfer helped rescue her using his board, and a volunteer lifeguard pulled both Malcolm and another surfer to shore. But now it's total chaos, because every single eyewitness seems to have a completely different version of the story. Some say he was alone, others say he was with family. Some claim there were surfers involved, others say it was just him and a friend. Like, what's really going on here? At some point, you gotta ask, is anyone telling the truth, or is everyone just running cover? And according to Jaguar Wright, even the US government ain't buying this cleanup job. Word is, they're quietly launching their own investigation into Malcolm's death. Now, let's not forget, this all went down outside the US, so technically it's out of American jurisdiction. But Malcolm was still a US citizen, and if there's even a whiff of foul play, you already know Uncle Sam don't play about that, especially not when it involves one of their own under suspicious circumstances. And this wouldn't be the first time the US government stepped in after somebody died under mysterious conditions overseas. Remember Shanquella Robinson back in 2022? That case shook everybody. She tragically lost her life while on a vacation in Cabo, Mexico. The local authorities claimed they were on it, said they had launched their own investigation. But the story was all over the place. Too many lies, too much confusion, and the US still stepped in and launched their own separate probe because the whole situation felt shady from the jump. So, if history tells us anything, it's that when the heat starts rising and the public starts questioning everything, the feds start paying attention, and Malcolm's case might already be in their crosshairs. Because according to Jaguar Wright, it's already happening. She says federal agents are now digging deep into what really went down with Malcolm-Jamal Warner. And if that's true, Hollywood might be sitting on a ticking time bomb, because if investigators trace all this back to the powerful folks who were allegedly threatening Malcolm, and if it turns out his death wasn't just some freak accident, then the whole industry might be forced to answer for years of secrets they've been hiding and lies they've been selling. This ain't just about one man anymore. If Jaguar Wright's telling the truth, and let's be real, she's been right before, then the Fed stepping in means this could be way bigger than anybody ever expected. Malcolm-Jamal Warner might not have been running from the spotlight. He might have been fighting for his life. And now, with the US government reportedly launching a separate investigation, this isn't just a tragedy, it's the kind of story that could blow the roof off Hollywood. We're talking secrets unraveling, powerful names being exposed, and a machine that's been untouchable for decades finally getting cracked wide open. Because if the real truth ever sees daylight, it's game over for whoever's been hiding in the shadows. So what do you think? Was Malcolm silenced before he could speak? Is this the beginning of a major Hollywood fallout? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you're ready for more truth bombs. Because this story is just getting started. Catch you in the next one.